from each other. And without further ado, I give the floor to George to start with this panel with the 3 minutes remarks, and then I'll pass on the floor to other panelists. George, you have the floor.
Thank you. Dear Chairman, consultation participants, it's my first time to be in New York, and my first time to be actually inside the UN building. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My organization has many years of experience in assessing and assisting some of the world's poorest children. We want everyone to hear our thoughts about drug policy, intervention, and human rights. I too have been a street boy from the slums of Korokocho in Nairobi, Kenya, so I know well the children and families on whose behalf I speak. These are people who have no voice and profoundly inadequate consideration in world affairs. They are often hopeless, they lack food, education, healthcare, job, and even the second thought. Which brings me immediately to the issue of drugs. We all know this to be true. Drug use during childhood and adolescence is especially dangerous. Let there not be debate that youths are seriously vulnerable in developing addiction, and that substance abuse during adolescence is strongly associated with many poor outcomes. Let there also be no debate that adults who profit from drug sales profit from youth. We all know it. Look no further than here in America, Colorado. We have a good lesson that we can learn from. We've seen evidence of marketing and advertisement aimed at children. Once unleashed, this marketing and advertisement will never be regulated. We all know it. We have ignored and excused devious tactics employed by alcohol and tobacco industries too long. Our world, and especially my smaller corner where I come from, the slums, cannot afford more of this glorification of mind-altering substances. Unfortunately, it needs to be said and repeatedly at every UN meeting. The world's most poorest community are the most vulnerable to harm of drug use and trade. Legalizing drugs in states here in America and other wealthy countries does not help poor countries like mine. It harms it most. Cities like Nairobi, where I reside, or where Korokocho is based, simply do not have enough resources provided to provide the services needed to address these problems we already have. We certainly will not be able to combat the heavier burdens that will come from more drug legalization and relentlessly marketing and media aimed at us by the wealthy countries. I know this because I already can see how the world's richest countries fail to find the resources to address their drug problems and care for their children and their poor. They like to talk about taxes they make from drug sale without acknowledging the naked truth. And without considering populations of poor, there are no taxes to collect. Substance abuse and addiction must be combated by countries working together, as said by the panelists who were here earlier on. I do not see this happening with the current drug policies. Unfortunately, I see people who want to use profit and recreation of drugs without regard for how it will harm countries like Kenya, where I come from. Just a minute. I see people demanding legal reform without acknowledging that drug legalization is not required to achieve. I see people pushing for drug policies that are not rooted in responsible science reported by the world's most respected scientists and medical associations. The money pushing for more drug use and more drug legalization is flowing, just as it always does when people want to buy their power, fame, politics, and even fortune. It is up to the world's body to put a stop to this corruption and influence. We must remain vigilant and rise above industry tactics. We must remain determined to reach the aspirational goal of promoting and building a world which is, in which children have the right to grow up in a drug-free environment. At the very last, we must reject policies that teach them recreational drug use in normal, acceptable, and even desirable. We must certainly not become enablers in the same way people are warned down and manipulated by those with substance addiction. We must set firm limits. We must guard against statements crafted after meeting, such as the session on human rights and Human Rights Council in Geneva last year in September. A report was issued from the meeting that listed 9 items and starts with the right to harm reduction, which is defined as illicit drug use shall not be discouraged. Let me repeat it here and put it clear. Illicit drug use shall not be discouraged. What signal do all these statements send? They are in line with Commentary 14 from the monitoring body of the 1966 Convention on Economic, Social and Political Rights, which makes it clear that states shall prevent and discourage illicit drug use. And can we honestly say that the UNCRC, which makes clear that children's rights shall be a primary consideration for all policy making, is in respect with that report when children rank, scant, mention, and last on the list of consideration. As I conclude, I think not. We are letting rich countries and corrupt leaders of poor ones. We are letting the corrupt leaders of poor ones dominate this drug policies debate for the least noble reason. We know that adults struggling with substance addiction overwhelmingly started their drug use when they were children. We know drug use weaken even the richest societies. So again, thank you for allowing me to be on record here for the world's poorest, most vulnerable children. Count me among those who are standing against the selfishness, desire, and financial agendas that are often cloaked by words and phrases like justice, medicine, and harm reduction. Thank you very much. Because they want to take drugs. They don't just take drugs because they want to do it for fun. They take drugs because it is something just to make them, something to keep them out of this world, to give them another world that they think can help elevate the problems that they are going through. Right now, where I work in the slums, marijuana is illegal. It is illegal, but the harm already is worse. How about when it will be made legal? I don't know. We will walk in the air. I don't know how we will survive with people who are working in the community because it will be worse. This is just one aspect of where I work, and we need to look at the cultural background of where you come from. African, we have our own culture, and our cultures clearly allow certain things and do not allow certain things. For example, in America, gayism is not a big deal, but in Africa, gayism, our culture does not even allow that. So it's something that the society will even provoke you for it. I hope I'm not offending anyone. Again, we must also look at various options that we can take into consideration. For example, if this young boy is into drugs, he has no hope. He has no second thought. He wants to engage in criminal activities. He wants something that can stimulate him to go and do that thing, to get somebody's phone, to get somebody's money from the hard job that he has made. We need to think of what we can do. Can we be in a position to provide an income-generating activity that will keep this young boy from the streets and from being idle to be able to earn a living? In Africa, in my own country, the government has 4 public rehabilitation hospitals that caters for a population of close to 3 million. Out of the 4 rehabilitations that we have, there is only 1 female rehabilitation center, which is miles and kilometers away from where I am. So tell me, out of the 3 million drug addicts that we have in Kenya, how will they be able to access this from the other western part of our country? We must also think about the resources that we have, because in my country we lack resources. Seriously, we lack enough resources. The other day, NACADA, the coordinating authority, proposed that they're going to have rehabilitation in every county. The government itself does not have funding to provide to this agency to create all this rehabilitation center. So it is becoming a challenge. But we need to be very, very sure of what we are, the direction that we are taking. Because were it not for someone to come and take me from the street and talk to me, I don't know where I would have been right now. So we need a consolidated effort. We need to look at the strengths and the strengths that we have within the people that we are giving them this platform. The young people in Africa, we have a lot of potential. We can work towards a given goal. We have a lot of talents, but all these talents are dying because people have no hope. People don't have a second thought of what is happening to them or what lies ahead of them. We also need to think about their growth and development. As much as we are thinking of having a comprehensive health approach, we need to think about their development, because if we lack our young people today, who will be here to represent the Secretary General? Who will be here to become the next president if we lose all these young men to drug and substance abuse? We need also to look at it in another aspect. This is a young boy or this is a young person who is not in a position to earn something to put on the table. The family earns less than $1 in a day, and you want to tell me that this boy will be able to afford a rehabilitation center? We are trying to lie to our own selves. Let us be realistic. In my own country, rehabilitation from a private institution goes for like $3,000. This is a boy or a girl who cannot afford $1 in a day. Where will they be in a position to get the $3,000 to take them to the rehabilitation center? That is something that we need to look at it. Prevention, I believe prevention works. Prevention work, for me, I believe it works. And let us look at the root cause, not at the cause of the problem, but the root cause of the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, George. I think one of the reasons I was invited to moderate this session, because everybody knows that I like to ask questions, but I was told that you should not ask too many questions and leave the conversation to unfold and just see what people have. But